India is facing a looming power crisis as the country wilts under an intense heat wave. Delhi's State Power Minister says that there's only 1 day's worth of coal reserves in many parts of the country. The shortage has caused outages lasting hours in multiple states. Power plants are struggling to keep up with the increased power demand as the use of air conditioning and fans skyrockets. The Delhi government has warned that it may not be able to provide uninterrupted electricity to key infrastructure like trains and hospitals. Ishan Garg joins us live now from New Delhi. Ishan, India has multiple sources to sort of feed its energy needs, but how critical is coal to its power supply?
Well, coal is the real backbone of India's energy needs. More than 70% of India's power supply actually comes from coal in different forms. So coal is not only used for residential purposes, for houses, to power houses, but it also powers India's industries and manufacturing units. So it quite literally becomes the backbone of the Indian economy. And that is a huge reason why India has been heavily reliant on coal. Its entire power infrastructure is built around coal because it's one of the most widely available resources in the country. And it's so important that during COP26, India agreed to phase down coal, even though there were demands that India should phase out coal completely to meet its greenhouse emission cutting targets. So that's how important coal has become, even though the government has said that it wants to get nearly half of its energy through renewables by the year 2050. But it will take a long time, according to experts, to change the infrastructure that is built around coal. It is expected, though, that in the next 30 to 40 years, India will be able to reduce the amount of coal it's using, but it will depend really on the cost of the technology that's going to replace it, because coal comes very cheap, and that is a huge point for a developing country like India, and that's why it's dependent on coal for most of its energy needs.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Ishan, what options does Delhi have to shore up its energy supplies?
Well, it is still reliant on coal. So its first port of call really is to make sure that the ample amount of coal that is required to power this mega city of nearly 20 million people reaches it. And there are some ways through which the government can do it. The first one, according to experts, is that there are cities, mega cities really, which will have a surplus of coal supplies. Those surplus supplies can be directed towards cities like Delhi. This is something that the government has already done last year when there was a similar coal shortage crisis affecting the country. Secondly, the government, this is something the government is already working on, which is transporting coal from the import centers. So from the ports, there are plans of transporting coal through nearly 650 trains through the railway lines. And to make this happen, the government is also planning to cancel passenger trains. Thirdly, the government wants to also heighten the import of coal. India doesn't really import a lot of coal. Nearly 15 to 20% of coal is imported, but in the recent times, it has asked state-owned companies to import more and more coal. So all of these factors combined, it is hoped that will give India some relief in the next few days. But experts say that the crisis may not be resolved, at least for the next 3 to 4 days.
Ishan, thank you. Ishan Garg there in New Delhi.